do a 0 or a re-0. So sometimes you'll notice the robot arm might act strangely. Even through calibration, you might not be able to resolve some of the issues. Some of the issues can be the arm hitting against the glass, the arm hitting against the metal here, the arm hitting against the delivery door, or sometimes the arm not reaching to certain positions around the machine. So if you can't solve it through calibration, one thing you can do is what's called the 0 process. So to test, first you would need to test the 0, and to do that you come here, log into the maintenance tab, and then go into robot setup. At the very bottom of robot setup, there is a start 0 process. You would press start 0 process, and then you would have these options here. You'll see a test left, test 0, and test right. So you would test the 0, and when you test 0 here, what you're looking for is for the arm to come straight out. You need to have the door open. And from here, you need to just kind of eyeball it and make sure it's straight. You want this elbow here to be straight. You want the shoulder here to be straight. So that looks pretty good. The other thing you want to test here, if you want to test left, and what you're looking for here is the position of this arm relative to the metal here on the back of the machine here. You want this piece of the arm to be parallel to the metal here. You do not want the arm to be angled out or angled in. So if you look at it, I don't know if you can get the side shot here, but that arm is parallel to the metal. There should be about like an 1.5 inch, 2 inch gap here. So that looks okay. Now I'm going to test right. I just hit the test right button. Now it's going to do the same thing on the right side. You're looking for exact same thing. You're looking for the distance between the arm and the metal here. So this one even looks like it might be angled out a little bit. That should still be okay, but it isn't perfectly parallel. If you find the arm is too far out here or even touching against the metal here, then we recommend you re-zero it. So the way you do that is, come here, hit the clear 0 button. Make sure you hit that. That should clear the 0. And then in that position it's in right there, you actually need to hold the arm up against the metal. You need to push it back. Sometimes you're going to feel some resistance. If you can hear that the arm's fighting me a little bit. While you're holding it there with the forearm up against this metal and with the back piece against the metal, hit save 0.
Yep.
So it is a two-man job usually. As somebody's holding the arm there, the other person has to hit save 0. Now that we've saved the 0, we're going to test again. We test again, and we're checking for the same thing. We're seeing if we have any improvement. So that looks worse than what it was. So you would just do it again here. So you put the arm back into position up against the metal, and just do it again. And that's a 0 process. Guys, another thing is, as you're moving the arm, and when you're in the 0 process, if the arm feels too much resistance, it can gray out those functions. So keep an eye on that screen and make sure if it goes gray, leave the arm alone for a second and make sure those buttons come up blue again. Once they're blue, you can start to move again. Just move slowly. Keep an eye on that. Make sure those buttons are still blue. If they're not coming back, try to straighten out the arm here and leave it straight there in the test position. If it's still not coming back, exit out, come back in, see if there's a fault condition. You might have to reboot the robot arm itself, but you want to move it slowly. If you feel too much resistance, if the arm is fighting you too much here, one thing you can try is to exit out of the robot setup tab. Try to go back to a flavor burst tab and then come back, and sometimes that will help with the resistance of the arm. And then you can, from there, you can move it right back into this position here, holding it up against the metal with the forearm right up against the other part of the arm here. And while you're holding it there, somebody needs to hit the save 0 button. So Marshall, can you try that now?
All right, save.
Then from there, we'll test again. We'll see if there's any improvement in the arm, and we just keep doing this until we have a better positions, better distance from the metal there.